probably one of the most important things is to know who the go-to guy on the team is and how to get him the ball in late game situations when we need to get a basket.
Let's list offensive responsibilities of a point guard. A point guard has to read the defense. Point guard has to point and direct traffic. The point guards that I love to watch the most, when a play breaks down within a team setting and the ball gets kicked back up high above the three, is the one that does not put the ball on the floor right away. What do they normally do? They hold the ball right here, and they look, and they survey what's going on, and they tell guys to go through, and they run a play, don't they? Intelligent point guard. Control the tempo of the game. They read the defense, and that's a critical thing to do. A point guard has to be quarterback on the court. This means calling audibles. Quarterback in football is behind the line, sees everything that's changing. Point guard has to call audibles, and that means even in the middle of a play. Now, how do you call an audible as a point guard in the middle of a play? It's real simple. You tell your players where they need to be going and when. Go baseline on the screen. Come up on the wing. Go to the ball. Post up big. Are those audibles? Absolutely. We already talked about you have to average a double-double. Now, if you go through some of the annual basketball magazines, if you go through Slam or Street and Smith's or Peterson Publishing, any of those, preseason for college or pro, you'll find that the top 10% of the point guards average close to a double and assist. Some of them might be at 7 or 8, but they average close to a double and assist. That means that for every 8 shots your teammates get to take, you take an average of 1 shot. If you only need to get 10 points, can you pick up 4 points on the fast break? Can you pick up 6 points from the 3 on a catch and shoot? That's 10 points. Maybe you get a jump shot off the dribble once in a while. The rest of the time, all you have to do is keep people honest. If you were to hit 2 threes in a game, an entire game, is the opposing defending point guard going to leave you too often? No. You just have to do your job. Your job is to set people up. Does anybody know who is the only player in NBA history to lead the NBA in the same year in scoring, 31 points a game, and assist at 13 assists a game? Better be right on. It wasn't Allen Iverson, I'm going to tell you that right now.
I would say Magic.
No. Huh? No, it was not Jordan. He didn't play point. Jabbar was not a point guard. No. You want to know who it was? No, forget it. You guys will never guess. Nate Tiny Archibald. 1973. Anybody know how tall he was? 6 foot. Led the league in scoring and assists. 31 points, 13 assists a game. And, ironically, he did not get the MVP in the league that year. I don't think that will ever be rivaled again. I don't think anyone will ever do what he did that year again. Tremendous year. Number 4. You have to work to set up and free up your teammates. We talked about this a few moments ago. That involves not just having the ability to pass the ball, but you have to be able to create shot opportunities for your teammates. You have to be able to create shot opportunities for your teammates. Here's a couple ways that you do this. And I'm going to do this with X's and O's. But if you have the ball here and you dribble penetrate and this defender comes and helps, This is called a draw and kick. You draw your opposing team's teammate, so there's two of them trying to cover you, and you kick the ball to somebody for an open three. That's a draw and kick. Let's say that you're on the perimeter, you're not dribbling the ball at the point. We talked about a 2-dribble rule for any offensive player after the point guard gives it up, correct? We talked about that. You should never have to dribble the ball more than twice, even if it's to do this, to change direction, or to drive to the basket, whatever it might be. So let's say you receive the ball back above the 3. You have to have the ability to attack this player, draw this player, kick the ball. That's a draw and kick. That is an offensive skill and move that a point guard has to have, has to enjoy doing, and has to be intelligent enough to read and do constantly. You notice the emphasis was not to go to the rim, but to go where? Toward who? Go right toward the defender, because most defenders are a little bit stupid. They're going to help. Coaches always teach help defense. I'm standing here covering this guy, point guard dribbles right at me. What am I going to do? Correct? This is exactly what I'm going to do. Bam. If my shooter is intelligent enough, he just shuffle slides a couple steps. Point guard hits him, catch and shoot, three-pointer. That's a draw and kick. That's how to create. Second way to do it is a drive and dish. And this is what most players that have to play the point guard position try to do, except they just try to score layups most of the time. That's what most point guards try to do. You're up here dribbling the ball, the defender's around you, you try to get down the lane and score the basket, and typically a big guy comes over and helps, and your man's there. This is a drive and dish. If you can get by your defensive player up top, drive down the lane, get a big man to help on defense, you can dish the ball to a big guy for a dunk or a layup. That's a drive and dish. Point guards have to have the ability to do this. This is called creating shots for your teammates. Third way to create shots for your teammates is to set screens. Here's your teammate. Here you are. You just pass the ball to this teammate over here. You have to go and screen the player, not your teammate. This player has to rub shoulders with you. That frees your teammate up. You have to set a screen on the player. You can't just go and stop here because you're leaving way too much room for this defender to go either direction. You understand that? You have to take pride in the picks that you set. A good point guard knows how to do this. A good point guard knows the plays. And there's a difference between saying, oh, I know what play 7 is, or I know what Omaha is when we run it, or I know what flex is. Well, every player on the court's going to know what flex is, or passing game. There's a difference between knowing that and knowing where every player on the court is supposed to be at a given time. You have to know what these guys are doing, what they're supposed to be doing, where they're going to be, when they're supposed to be there. How could you get more familiar with this? Anybody have any ideas? Zach? Good. Write the plays down 10 times on a sheet of paper at night until you internalize them so that you know not just where you're supposed to go, but where everybody else is supposed to go. Will that make you a better point guard? It'll make you a much better point guard. Then you can start to be verbal on the offensive end of the court by calling audibles, can't you? That's what we're talking about, going back to calling audibles.